Sony officially unveiled PSVR2 in January of this year. PSVR2 comes with upgraded specs and exciting new features, including improved visuals and a host of technologies for better tracking. Sony has now released a new blog post detailing how PSVR2 aims to improve the user experience. Probably one of the biggest new features is called see-through view, which allows players to see their surroundings while wearing the headset. As an example of its advantages, it can be used to find PSVR2 Sense controllers without taking off the device. Players can enable see-through view by pressing the function button on the headset or by using a specific card in the control center. Sony then clarifies that see-through view is only for viewing purposes and does not record any footage. Another handy feature lets users customize the play area for PSVR2 with the help of the PSVR2 Sense controllers and the cameras. Players can use the cameras to scan their room before customizing the play area to fit their surroundings. They will see a warning if they get close to a boundary set up using this method, and it will likely make sure that users do not accidentally hit any furniture or object in the room. With PSVR2, you can see your surroundings while wearing the headset with our new see-through feature. It comes in handy when you want to easily check where the PSVR2 Sense controllers are in your room without taking the headset off. Thanks to PSVR2's embedded front cameras, users can press the function button on the headset or use the card in the control center to switch between viewing your surroundings or viewing the content on PSVR2. The card in the control center also gives quick access to other PSVR2 settings, such as adjusting your play area. A new broadcast feature for PSVR2 will allow you to film yourself while playing by connecting a PS5 HD camera to the console. It's a great way to show your movements and reactions during a boss battle and share your reactions with your fellow gamers as it happens. In VR mode, players can enjoy VR game content in a 360 view in a virtual environment. Content will be displayed in 40x 2040 HDR video format, 2000 by 2040 per eye, with 90 Hz or 120 Hz frame rate. In cinematic mode, players can view the PS5 system and UI and all non-VR game and media content on a virtual cinema screen. Content in cinematic mode will be displayed in 1920 by 1080 HDR video format with 2460 Hz and also 120 Hz frame rate. PSVR2 game developers will begin to access the latest user experience for PSVR2 in a new system software release coming soon as part of the ongoing development. The new features revealed in this blog post will likely have a significant impact on the user experience. Both see-through view and the ability to customize the play area sound like welcome additions, while VR and cinematic modes let users engage with PSVR2 in other meaningful ways. The post seems to suggest that Sony is gearing up for PSVR2's launch, so fans will not have to wait long before getting more information. Investor meetings and financial earnings reports are two ways in which a gaming fan can get some news on what a company is planning next. Now, Sony is informing its investors and its followers of what it has in the works for the coming years. The first and perhaps most impressive detail that Sony revealed in its most recent investors meeting is that the PSVR2 will launch with over 20 major first- and third-party titles. Some PSVR2 games have already been revealed, such as Horizon Call of the Mountain, a spin-off game set in the Horizon Zero Dawn universe. To have over 20 titles available at launch will hopefully give fans an incentive to purchase the PSVR2, especially if some old VR hits can get an upgrade to the new platform. Unfortunately for fans eagerly awaiting the launch of PSVR2, Sony's investor meeting didn't give an exact date on when that would be, potentially encouraging the rumors that the PSVR2 could see a delay. Moving on from VR, Sony also showed a clear interest in creating new IPs. While its existing franchises like God of War and the Horizon games have proven to be incredibly successful, by 2025 Sony is looking to have 50% of its games be from new IPs and 50% from existing series. This marks a stark increase from the 34% focus on new IPs in 2022. Also in the financial year of 2022, Sony plans to drop 2 live service games. Obviously one of them is gonna be The Last of Us Factions. Considering PlayStation's CEO believes live service games will be more important than subscription services in gaming's future, it makes sense Sony would plan to release some of these games from their corporate eyes. The gaming giant is also making aggressive growth plans for mobile and PC. According to a recent supply chain leak, Sony is gearing up for a big launch for PSVR2, as it is reported there could be around 1.5 million units available when it first releases. Unfortunately for fans, it seems that the rumors around the PSVR2 being delayed into 2023 may also be true, as the supply chain information suggests that Sony will be releasing these supposed 1.5 million units in Q1 2023. While Sony has not revealed an official release date for PSVR2 yet, many were expecting the headset sooner rather than later, especially considering how many features Sony has been unveiling for the hardware lately. It seems that the release of PSVR2 will not be dependent on when the headset is ready. Rather, according to the leak, it seems that Sony is planning on releasing the virtual reality headsets when the games for the platform are ready. The PlayStation VR headset opened up new possibilities on PlayStation consoles, but few would claim that the first PSVR headset truly lived up to its potential. The limitations of the PS4 hardware and the still few VR game developers held the PSVR back. Sony's now hoping that the PSVR2 headset will build on what the original started, meaning more prominent franchises coming to VR. One of those games could be a virtual reality adaptation of Killzone, if rumors are to be believed. Killzone VR is described to have begun as a game for the original PSVR made by Supermassive Games. Supermassive had just wrapped up a series of PSVR games including Until Dawn, Rush of Blood, The Inpatient, and Bravo Team between 2016 and 2018. Sony had also apparently contracted Supermassive to make Killzone VR during these years, building off its experience with both the PSVR headset and remastering Killzone for the PS3. Unfortunately, by 2019, Sony was unhappy with the project and cancelled it. While Supermassive's development Killzone VR was ended, Sony didn't abandon the project. It instead shifted development of Killzone VR internally. If internal development of Killzone VR started in 2019, it's possible that the project could be planned to be a launch game for the PSVR2. Still, a Killzone VR project is an exciting idea that Sony will hopefully follow through on eventually. As one of the major platform owners, many gamers would claim that PlayStation is a titan of video games, with the PlayStation 2 still sitting on top of the list of best-selling video game consoles of all time and 3 other Sony machines in the top 10 of that list. It is clear that the company has seen some major successes with its hardware endeavors. However, this doesn't always equate to financial growth, as Sony has recently reported a dip in revenue for Q1 2022. Sony's first quarter ended on June 30, 2022, and now it is revealing how this year's Q1 matched up against previous years. In terms of hardware, Sony reported that it shipped 2.4 million PS5 units between the end of March and June 2022, which is an increase of 0.1 million from the year before and an increase of 0.4 million from last quarter. While these may seem like small increases, it still shows that the PlayStation 5 is selling well. Here this dip originates from appears to be in software sales for the company. PS4 and PS5 full game software saw a total of 47.1 million units sold during the first quarter, which is a decrease of over 16 million units from the same period of last year. Also, users of Sony's subscription service decreased in Q1 by 0.1 million users. The monthly active users of the PlayStation Network are also down to 102 million, which appears to be the lowest figure since Sony began sharing these details in early 2020. It is believed that this decline is attributed to the lack of new first- and third-party PlayStation releases between March and June. Titles such as Horizon Forbidden West and GT7 sold well for the company's previous quarter, and with God of War Ragnarok releasing in November, it is possible that by the end of the 2022 financial year this dip won't have much of an effect on the company's revenue. Another reason that PlayStation has taken a financial dip is due to Sony's acquisition of Bungie. While it was announced earlier this year that the deal would likely be going ahead, it was confirmed much sooner than Sony had apparently planned, leading to a massive increase in expenses associated with acquisitions. The digital ratio was 79%, meaning 1 in 5 games purchased for PlayStation consoles during the quarter were downloads. Sony also reported operating income for its games business were affected by increasing costs, particularly for games development at major studios. Sony hasn't been shy about the fact that most of its PlayStation ports to PC have been reasonably successful up until now. In fact, The company has only doubled down on these efforts since its first tentative steps into the PC marketplace, and it's plenty obvious by now that this is going to continue for the foreseeable future, too. The specifics of Sony's success have, however, been the subject of much discussion up until now. While some PlayStation PC port sales numbers were readily available beforehand, Sony's latest announcements provide much-needed context on just how unsuccessful the company has been in this regard. According to the featured slide, Sony got $108.9 million in revenue from its three biggest PC releases so far. Interestingly, the massive growth that's been forecast for FY22 further underlines the notion that more PC ports could be coming from PlayStation in the very near future. Of course, Sony did acquire a dedicated PC porting studio not too long ago, so it's not overly surprising to see the company expecting its investments to result in revenue growth. Still, the exact extent of PlayStation's success on PC wasn't known up until now, and it provides additional context to Sony's recent openness towards porting games such as God of War and Uncharted onto a platform it has had very limited experience with in the past. Earlier this year, it was revealed that God of War devs convinced Sony about PC as a potential growth vector, explaining that the company was initially very hesitant about doing so. Now with these lame numbers, the PC strategy is clearly not doing good, and they need to cut it off soon for the sake of the quality of the first-party games. Game adaptations for television and film are becoming increasingly popular, and several projects are in the works at the moment that are adapting extremely popular game franchises. Sony has just confirmed that Horizon Zero Dawn and God of War have joined the ranks of future adaptations. The announcements were made as part of the company's investor briefing and have already become a talking point amongst fans. Talks of God of War being adapted for television have been ongoing for a while, and news broke in March that Amazon was in talks with Sony to obtain the rights for a live-action television series. Seems like the deal was solidified in the past 2 months, and the series is now officially in production for Amazon Prime as confirmed by Sony Interactive Entertainment boss Jim Ryan. Cast and crew members have not been announced yet, but fans are already theorizing over who could potentially play the former Greek God of War Kratos. Horizon Zero Dawn is another one of Sony's flagship franchises and has sold over 20 million copies globally. What's interesting is that this adaptation is in production at Netflix, and fans are wondering why the two series have been offered to two different streaming platforms. It isn't, however, surprising that Sony is considering both these game franchises for adaptations, as they have extremely large fan followings at this point. Getting these fans to tune into the series will not be a difficult task. It isn't confirmed whether both adaptations will follow the plot in the games, and it remains to be seen what direction the production studio will go in. Horizon, God of War, and Gran Turismo were three confirmed IPs that are currently in development, with Horizon set to become a Netflix series, God of War an Amazon series, and Gran Turismo ending up with a yet unnamed streaming home. While Horizon has multiple avenues to explore, either with Aloy, some existing characters, or brand new ones, and Gran Turismo could take a more cinematic approach to car shows, the God of War franchise has always put Kratos at its center. Adapting 2018's God of War directly into a television series would be doing the game an injustice. The PlayStation title is already a very cinematic experience that beautifully melds gameplay and a heartfelt story into a Norse mythology setting, so much so that anything that comes out from Amazon could never live up to the fans' expectations. Stories set after the game are better left to Sony Santa Monica and sequels like God of War Ragnarok, but what the television series could do well is give viewers a more personal look at the Kratos of the past. In the original God of War trilogy, Kratos never took responsibility for his choices and instead opted to blame others for his failures. Whether it be Ares, the Fates, or the gods of Olympus, Kratos always perceived that his problems could be solved by killing someone or something. That doesn't mean Kratos was devoid of all character. As mentioned earlier, there are points in the original trilogy that show a more human side to the God of War. We get to see Kratos as a loving father and husband, at least before he kills them by accident, and the scene with Calliope on Elysium. They see his regret for having killed Athena, the only Greek god who seemed to truly want to aid him on his quests for vengeance, or there is much more to that. The original God of War even opens with Kratos trying to kill himself in an attempt to reunite with his dead family, something that is rarely seen in a character in an action game, much less the protagonist. These emotions were further fleshed out in 2018's God of War, where Kratos is much quieter, a little less angry, and definitely wiser. His stoic personality in the reboot hides the fact that he has learned from his past actions. Restraint, control, and patience are the values he tries to uphold and teach to his son Atreus, which is why he begins to worry when Atreus starts saying things and committing acts that remind Kratos of his past self. This is one of the reasons why the most recent God of War was so meaningful. Instead of sweeping the events of the earlier games under a rug, it took the most impactful parts and let Kratos tell them from his perspective as an older man. Players who are new to the franchise can learn about the past games through Atreus, albeit with a bit of a parental censor thanks to his relationship with Kratos. Instead of treading on familiar ground with the reboot, the Amazon series could provide viewers with a deeper understanding of Kratos' past. It isn't enough to recap people on the events of the first few games. In order for the series to be successful, it has to make Kratos a compelling character, something he was not in the original games. The series should focus on the moral implications of Kratos' actions by showing what he thinks and/or feels after committing them. Granted, this isn't an easy feat considering how hardened Kratos is and how difficult it can be to read his emotions, but if the most recent God of War was able to make him relatable to players, then the same can be done for the television series. Of course, it can't be a God of War television series without mythology and big action sequences. But these fantastical elements shouldn't distract from the story the writers are trying to tell. At the core of 2018's God of War was a deeply personal father-son story. It just so happened that the story was told in a Norse mythology setting. Bringing the television series back to Greek mythology and Kratos' earlier days will allow the writers to delve deeper into the character as he embarks on multiple quests to take vengeance on those who have wronged him. It gives them a chance to tell a more robust retelling of the events of the original God of War trilogy, as well as provides avenues to tell stories that the video games never told, like from the God of War comics and also the origins of Kratos and Deimos and their mother Callisto. Horizon Zero Dawn was incredibly well received when it launched back in 2017, with many praising Dutch studio Guerrilla Games for its creation of a unique and fresh IP, featuring a post-apocalyptic world where humans exist in tribal communities alongside highly advanced machines. The game received a sequel called Horizon Forbidden West that released to a greater appreciation earlier in 2022. Now, thanks to industry insider Jeff Grubb, fans may have a new wealth of details regarding the upcoming show. According to Grubb, whose source is the Directors Guild of Canada Ontario website, the name of the TV show will be Horizon 2074 and it will feature 2 timelines. Considering that the name of the show involves a date, it is highly likely that one of these timelines will take place in the year 2074, leading up to the downfall of humanity. The other timeline, then, could take place in the era of the Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West games, some hundreds of years after the fall of the old ones. As well as revealing its title, Grubb also tells fans that the show will be set and filmed in Toronto, due to tax incentives. This shouldn't clash too much with the setting of the Horizon games, which take place in North America without referring to specific locations. Also, from the Directors Guild website, some of the names of the crew working on the Horizon show can be seen, including Jack Boehm, who has worked on the Boys TV series, as well as Michelle Brady of The Expanse. The story of Horizon 2074 is split across 2 timelines, as stated, but it will not copy the story of Horizon Zero Dawn beat for beat. Instead, it is rumored that fan-favorite protagonist Aloy will feature, but she may not be the focal point of the series. Instead, Horizon 2074 will involve a reimagining of the major events from the games. While this might not be the faithful remake some fans were hoping for, the Netflix adaptation will still feature 2 main Horizon attractions, its world and machines. Since PS5 launched, PlayStation's been listening to our feedback and working every day to bring us more community-requested features. Lately, they are rolling out a new PS5 system software beta that includes 1440p support, game lists, and additional updates to enhance our gaming experiences and make connecting with friends easier on PS5. While beta access is limited to invited participants in select countries, these updates will roll out to the global community later this year. If you're selected to participate in the beta, you'll receive an email invitation when it's available to download today. As always, some features available during the beta phase may not make it into the final version or may see significant changes. 1440p HDMI video output. The PS5 beta introduces support for 1440p HDMI video output, enabling players to choose an additional visual setting on compatible PC monitors and TVs. If the game you're playing supports 1440p rendering, you can experience native 1440p output on your display. Or, if you're playing a game with a higher native resolution like 4K, then you may benefit from improved anti-aliasing through supersampling down to 1440p output. You can check if your HDMI device is compatible by selecting Test 1440p output under Screen and Video options within System Settings. Game lists. In your game library, you can now create game lists, which make organizing your games even easier. To start, go to the Your Collection tab and select Create Game List. Choose games to add to your game list, then decide what to name it. You can have up to 15 game lists and 100 games per game list. All games under the Your Collection tab of your game library can be added to a game list, including disc, digital, and streaming titles. You can also add the same game to multiple game lists. Compare 3D audio and stereo audio. You can now listen to and compare the difference between 3D and stereo audio on the same screen, and then choose your preferred setting. Easier access to in-progress activities. When resuming a game, in-progress activities are often shown prominently at the top of the game hub to make it as easy and as fast as possible to get back to where you left off. Request share screen. You can now request party members to start share screen to watch their gameplay. Go to the voice chat card, select the party member you want to send the request to, and then select Request Share Screen. Joinable game notification. When you join a party and a party member is playing a game you can join, you'll now receive a notification. You can join the game directly from the notification. View new friends' profiles. When you accept a friend request in the Received list, you can now view your new friend's profile in Accepted Requests. Send stickers and voice messages in Game Base. In the Game Base card, you can now send stickers and voice messages to your groups. These are the new features that are coming to the PlayStation 5 UI. You can sign up for the beta. It might be a rarer occurrence in the tech world, but the introduction of brand new software features isn't the only change that a patch can bring. Even though Sony is getting ready to roll out 1440p support to every PS5, the platform holder has also announced that one of the console's launch features is about to be discontinued. As a result, owners of the latest PlayStation only have a few months left to enjoy its accolades feature. When the PS5 launched during the latter months of 2020, most of the public's attention was understandably focused on its roster of games and revolutionary controller. Being able to play modern classics like Demon's Souls with the captivating DualSense controller is one of the reasons why demand for the console has remained high ever since. Despite all of this fanfare, though, Sony introduced several other new features into the mix that have often flown under the radar. The PS5's Accolades system is arguably one of the system's biggest forgotten features. In an attempt to replace the PS4's lost community's social network functionality, whilst driving up engagement on the PlayStation Network, Sony introduced the concept at the start of the current console generation. Players have subsequently been able to award each other 3 different awards at the end of matches in select multiplayer games ever since. Both conceptually and practically, the PS5's Accolades system is a straightforward one. Beyond being able to attach good sport, helpful, or welcoming badges to the profiles of other players, there aren't too many other quirks to the feature. It's worth mentioning that players can't send accolades to their friends and have to wait over 12 hours to send a second one to the same person. Sony has never offered any benefit to the system either, beyond the reassurance players get from knowing they've done a positive deed. Having flown under the radar for nearly 2 years, it's little surprise that Sony has quietly announced that support for the PS5's Accolade system is about to come to an end. Over on the official PlayStation support page, the publisher recently posted a single-paragraph update outlining its decision. While the specifics of the plan are still vague as a result, players now know the feature will disappear from their console at some point during the fall of 2022. During the short support notice, Sony still managed to make a telling reference to the fact that the PS5's accolades haven't been adopted by the PlayStation community like it had hoped. Based on the data that Sony collects on all of its systems behind the scenes, the platform holder has seemingly deduced that only a small group of PS5 owners have actually taken advantage of them. In some respects, the writing has been on the wall for the accolades system for a while. The fact that some of the PS5's most prominent multiplayer games have launched without support for the feature has limited its scope while also bringing Sony's own commitment to the idea into question. Considering the ever-evolving face of technology and the constant need to improve and develop new features as a result, the platform holder's attention will now likely be diverted to other corners of the PlayStation network. Even though the PS5's accolades are about to be discontinued, there's reason to believe Sony will eventually explore the idea again at some point in the future. From just a physical perspective alone, the accolades section that's likely to vanish from every PlayStation Network user profile will need to be filled by something. With players unable to earn or award any more accolades from the fall onwards, it's unlikely that the space will be left in its current state. Beyond that, Sony has also reaffirmed its desire to clean up the PlayStation Network while also encouraging players to send each other support. It wouldn't be too shocking if another community-oriented feature is added into the mix as a result of this. Based on the details that Sony has announced about its upcoming PlayStation Stars loyalty system, the publisher could already be eyeing up the platform as a replacement for the PS5's accolades. Although PlayStation Stars has been unveiled as a way for PS5 owners to earn loyalty points and bonuses via challenges, there's obvious scope within the idea for a community-focused angle as well. The world of esports has seen a significant growth over the years with the emergence of franchise leagues and competitive gaming organizations partnering up with huge brands to create insane collaborations. Sony sees the value in the competitive gaming scene, and in an early afternoon announcement, it has been announced that esports platform Repeat.gg will be joining the PlayStation family. Repeat.gg is a platform that hosts a bevy of tournaments in titles such as Fortnite, League of Legends and Call of Duty Warzone. Alongside plenty of free or paid entry tournaments, Repeat also contains automated result tracking for an easier method of tracking player stats in said tournaments. Sony has been working hard to grow the competitive gaming scene on the PlayStation platform by hosting weekly tournaments across similar titles, which points to why this acquisition took place. Per the official announcement, Repeat spoke on how important this partnership is to the team. With this acquisition, both parties can continue focusing on the goal of providing esports for everyone. Joining the PlayStation family allows Repeat to increase the scale of the tournaments hosted that was previously unable to be done without Sony's help, with plenty of new titles set to receive plenty of support in the future. The team at Repeat also mentions that this will not impact the tournaments hosted for PC titles such as League of Legends, as it will continue to expand in the future. An interesting note in the announcement was mentioned at the beginning, where it was stated that this has been in the works for some time now. While it's not directly stated how long it's been, this follows Sony's trend of looking to the growing esports scene. Early last year, Sony announced the purchase of well-known fighting game tournament EVO. Of course, this hasn't been Sony's only acquisition. Over the past few months, Sony has added Jade Raymond's Haven Studios and Destiny creator Bungie to the PlayStation family with a hinted focus on the live service market. While it's not true for every competitive title, titles like League of Legends and Fortnite are free to play with booming esports scenes. With Bungie working on live service titles and Haven reportedly working on a live service game for the PS5, Repeat joining PlayStation could be a potential sign of Sony looking to heavily invest in the competitive market in order to expand outside of the realm of solely creating blockbuster single-player experiences. "2022 was said to be the biggest year for James Cameron's Avatar franchise to date. December 16th will see the premiere of Avatar: The Way of Water in theaters, and the film was originally going to be preceded by the launch of Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora from Massive Entertainment and Ubisoft. While Avatar: The Way of Water is still expected to meet its December 16th theatrical premiere date, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora will no longer release in 2022. Ubisoft has released its first quarter report for the 2022-23 fiscal year, confirming that Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora will now launch in the 2023-24 fiscal year instead. Ubisoft didn't provide a detailed explanation for why the decision was made to push back the Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora release date beyond that this will allow the development to better deliver a cutting-edge immersive experience that takes full advantage of next-gen technology. Along with delaying Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, Ubisoft also confirmed the delay of another game that was originally slated for the 2022-23 fiscal year but has yet to be announced. Ubisoft described the game as an unannounced premium game, but it too has been pushed back to the 2023-24 fiscal year. It's anyone's guess as to what the game in question is, but speculation points to Assassin's Creed Rift, the rumored smaller-scale Assassin's Creed project that was originally believed to be releasing this year. The mystery game could be a different game entirely, completely unrelated to the Assassin's Creed franchise, so fans should keep that in mind before getting too worried, however. While the delay of Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora may disappoint some fans, it's likely that many saw this coming. After all, hardly anything has been shown of Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora in terms of gameplay, and so it's really no surprise that the game is being pushed back to the 2023-24 fiscal year. Hopefully more information on the game comes to light sooner rather than later, so fans at least have something to help tide them over. It's quite likely, though unconfirmed, that Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora will be featured at the Ubisoft Forward event on September 10th at 12 p.m. Pacific Time. The Ubisoft Forward event is expected to serve as Ubisoft's E3 equivalent this year, with the company set to feature its upcoming projects. Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora is still one of the biggest Ubisoft games on the horizon, so it would make sense for the game to have a major presence at Ubisoft Forward, even with its release date pushed back, but fans will just have to tune in for themselves to find out. Using the latest incarnation of the advanced Snowdrop engine, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora is set to allow players to explore a vibrant, sprawling open world that is filled with missions and gameplay features. But, while all of this sounds good to the ears of any Avatar fanatic, new info suggests Ubisoft has apparently bitten off more than it could chew in the current development stages of Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. On Twitter, video game journalist Jeff Grubb claimed that the game has had a troubling development process when responding to another user's tweet concerning Ubisoft's recent delay of Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. Stating that although the action-adventure video game visually looks pretty, Grubb elaborated that the gameplay featured in Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora is in rough shape and that this alarming status report of the game's quality came to them from about a month ago. As with all rumors, this insider news regarding Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora's apparent rocky development should be taken by readers with a grain of salt until an official announcement is made by Ubisoft or Massive Entertainment. However, there may be some truth in Grubb's statement. After all, Ubisoft recently announced during its first quarter report for the 2022-23 fiscal year that Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora will now release in 2023-24, which is quite a delay for a title initially set to drop sometime this year. Regarding Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora's delay, Ubisoft stated that the extra development time will allow the team to better deliver a cutting-edge immersive experience that takes full advantage of next-gen technology. With this lengthy delay now in place, Avatar fans can only hope that both Ubisoft and Massive Entertainment will be able to mold the game into a much more polished gaming experience within the next coming years. Ubisoft has recently released its financial report for the first quarter of the year. In addition to providing an update on how its franchises are doing financially, it's given some crucial insight into how the development of a handful of major titles is going, and what the future for a number of Ubisoft games looks like. Some of the news was a little disappointing to fans, but other updates have been more intriguing. The financial report was sadly lacking in much substantive Assassin's Creed info, other than assertions that the franchise is still performing very well. This is good news for fans hoping for many more years of historical stealth content, as Assassin's Creed continues to be a solid earner for the developer. With lots of rumors flying around about potential future projects for the series as well, players are eager to learn more about the inevitable upcoming games, and they will have their wishes granted during the next Ubisoft Forward on September 10th. There was some bad news for players as well. Both Splinter Cell VR and Ghost Recon Frontline have been cancelled, which were first announced in 2020 and 2021 respectively. While most fans were excited to experience Splinter Cell in a VR format, there was some initial backlash to Ghost Recon Frontline, as the work-in-progress title represented a significant departure from the previous games in the franchise. 2 more unannounced games have also been cancelled, but these remain a complete mystery, and it's unlikely fans will learn what they were anytime soon. Ubisoft's slate of free-to-play titles like XDefiant, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Mobile, and The Division Heartland will continue to receive support and are still among the developer's future plans as it strives to build upon the base it's created and eventually reach wider audiences. The recently announced Tom Clancy's The Division Resurgence mobile game is still in development, and Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope and Skull and Bones are also on schedule for their respective release dates. Last March, Ubisoft celebrated 36 years since its foundation all the way back in 1986, when the five Guillemot brothers decided to get into the game development industry after their other successful projects. In time, Ubisoft became one of the biggest companies in the industry, publishing and producing top-quality games, with some of them enduring the test of time and remaining popular decades since their release. Lastly, one of the weirdest things to date is the news cycle surrounding Beyond Good and Evil 2, a game that was first talked about by its director, Michel Ancel, even prior it was officially revealed at E3 2016. There were quarrels between Ancel and the Ubisoft headquarters about this project, and Ancel eventually left the company before the game came out. The issue is that in the 6 years since its reveal, development on Beyond Good and Evil 2 has remained radio silent for the most part. Recently, Ubisoft finally stated that the game will indeed come in the future, though no date has been set. Overall, Ubisoft isn't doing too well lately, and it seems unlikely that Skull and Bones will become its saving grace. Speaking of delays, according to a report, the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake has been put on indefinite hold, but that might actually be a good thing. For years, Star Wars fans have been desperate for a Knights of the Old Republic remake. Releasing all the way back in 2003, Knights of the Old Republic was a truly groundbreaking game, especially for the Star Wars license. By creating a party of complex, three-dimensional characters, making some of the most detailed Star Wars environments to date, and taking the franchise in a completely new direction, BioWare managed to make Knights of the Old Republic an instant classic. Fans finally got their wish last year, when Aspyr announced that it was working on a Knights of the Old Republic remake, but recent news is heartbreaking. According to a Bloomberg report by Jason Schreier, the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake may have been delayed indefinitely. In the report, Schreier says that 2 employees of Aspyr have stated that the developers' partners are not happy with the current state of the game, after viewing a vertical slice demo of the game so far. After viewing the demo at the end of June, Aspyr apparently fired Knights of the Old Republic's design director and art director, and have since placed the game on indefinite hiatus while it looks for new contracts. While sudden unemployment is, of course, a terrible thing, this Knights of the Old Republic delay may be for the best. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic may just be one of the most beloved games of all time, with hordes of vocal fans still taking to Twitter and Reddit every now and then to discuss the game and its legacy. Put simply, Aspyr may not be able to live up to that legacy. Founded in 1996, Aspyr began in the industry by porting popular PC games over to Mac OS. In 2005, Aspyr partnered with Wideload Games and released IRS' first self-published title, Stubbs the Zombie. Over the last 2 decades, Aspyr has continued to primarily port other developers' games to other platforms, as opposed to making an original title from the ground up. The closest Aspyr has gotten to developing its own game is creating a few remasters over the years, such as the Fahrenheit, Indigo Prophecy remastered game, released in 2015. But still, while these titles do add some new game features, improve on some technical aspects, and bring the game to modern consoles, it isn't quite the same as creating a video game from scratch. The Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake is an entirely different story, with Aspyr apparently remaking the game from the ground up for the PS5 and PC. While this project is more than achievable, Aspyr's recent track record hasn't done much to inspire confidence in the remake. A year ago, Aspyr ported Star Wars: Republic Commando to the Nintendo Switch and PS4. Though the PS4 version was a decent enough port, the Switch version was sorely disappointing, with some severe technical issues, such as button inputs simply not responding. This year, Aspyr ported both Star Wars: The Force Unleashed and Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 over to the Switch, and while the former was fine for the most part, the latter caused a great deal of controversy, as it was plagued with numerous technical issues, with one bug so bad that it stopped players from being able to finish the game at all. Aspyr is clearly a very capable developer, but it may not quite be ready to tackle such a lofty project as the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake, at least not by itself. With the game allegedly being put on hold for now, this gives both the developer and the game plenty of time to breathe and could alleviate a lot of pressure that's undoubtedly built up while working on such a high-profile title. This could also open the door for other, more experienced developers to come in and help Aspyr, as reportedly Saber Interactive has been assisting as well. The more, the merrier. More time in development is never a bad thing, So hopefully, this delay is for the best and not permanent. One of the biggest reveals at San Diego Comic-Con this past weekend was the first trailer for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which is scheduled to cap off Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe on November 11th. Not long after the Black Panther: Wakanda Forever trailer dropped, industry insider Jeff Grubb reported that a Black Panther video game is in development as well, and now he has revealed new details on the project. According to Grubb in a recent Giant Bomb Twitch stream, the Black Panther video game is currently known by its codename Project Rainier, and it is in development at Electronic Arts. EA's new, still unnamed Seattle studio is working on the game, with that team led by Kevin Stevens, who was once VP of Monolith Productions, the studio that made the Middle-earth games and is working on the Wonder Woman game. The Black Panther game is said to be a single-player, open-world experience, and it will be about the player character becoming the new Black Panther. It's unclear exactly what that means. It's possible players will play as an original character that becomes the new Black Panther, but it's also possible that the game will be about T'Challa taking the mantle of Black Panther. Grubb says that the Black Panther game is still early in development, which makes sense as the studio making it has only been around for about a year at this point. Considering this, it's unlikely that fans will get clarification on certain plot details until much later on. When one considers the incredible popularity of the Black Panther film and the Black Panther character, it's really no surprise to learn that a video game based on the character is in development. The first Black Panther standalone movie earned a whopping $1.348 billion at the box office, making it one of the most financially successful superhero movies of all time. The Black Panther character has appeared in other superhero movies as well, most notably Captain America, Civil War, Avengers: Infinity War, and Avengers: Endgame. What may be surprising to some is that EA is the publisher that's apparently working on the project. In recent years, EA has largely moved away from single-player gaming experiences to instead focus on its lineup of sports titles and make online multiplayer, live-service-style games. Not only that, but EA recently mocked single-player games in a tweet that earned the company some significant backlash. But while EA has made fun of single-player games on its social media, it seems the company has seen the value of making such projects, perhaps thanks to the success of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. As part of its recent financial reporting for the quarter, Electronic Arts CEO Andrew Wilson said that single-player games are a really important part of the company's portfolio. That quote comes on the back of rumors regarding a Marvel-licensed Black Panther game currently being worked on at the publisher. Now there's another rumor indicating that EA may also have an Iron Man single-player game in the works. EA's single-player partnership with Disney, driven by the success of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, appears to be growing. The rumor comes from industry insider and frequent leaker Tom Henderson. Henderson responded to a short video from Jeff Grubb saying that EA is working on not just Black Panther, but also an additional single-player Marvel game. Henderson added to this, saying that he's heard rumors that this second single-player Marvel project at EA is Iron Man. However, he also flags it as heavily under the rumor category, as he's yet to get firm confirmation of the rumor's validity. Iron Man is no stranger to licensed video games, though the robotic suit-wearing superhero hasn't had the breakout industry success that Spider-Man and Batman have had. Most recently, there was Iron Man VR for the PlayStation VR headset, which was released in 2020. Between 2008 and 2013 there were a trilogy of Iron Man games directly inspired by the Iron Man films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. By the third game, the series had become mobile-only, however. The big question, if the rumor about an Iron Man single-player game is true, is which studio is developing it. Given that most EA subsidiaries, like BioWare and Respawn, are currently deeply involved in their own projects, it's unclear who Iron Man could be made by. The same could be said for Black Panther, for that matter. The studios at the heart of current speculation regarding EA's rumored single-player Marvel projects are two Seattle-based teams put together in 2021. Black Panther is rumored to be coming from a team led by former Monolith Productions VP Kevin Stevens. Perhaps Iron Man is being made by the other Seattle team, led by former Bungie creative director Marcus Leto. If the Iron Man rumor is true, then much like the Black Panther rumor, it may be years yet before an official confirmation is made by EA. These single-player games would be very early in development and are likely to be ambitious, meaning they'll take some time to be made. Further leaks and rumors should hopefully make the wait for these exciting single-player Marvel projects less of a strain. PlayStation Plus has gone through some big changes lately, but the core PlayStation Plus service is still readily available. Anyone signed up for the PS Plus Essential, Extra, or Premium tiers are treated to 3 free games that they can claim for their collection every month. And unlike the PS Plus Extra and Premium games, these titles are for keeps, as long as one stays subscribed to the PlayStation Plus subscription service. Most of the time, Sony announces the next batch of free PS Plus games on the last Wednesday of the month, and that pattern holds true when it comes to the free PS Plus games for August 2022. Sony has officially announced the 3 games PS Plus subscribers can claim across PS4 and PS5 come August 2nd, with fans having until September 6th to claim the games for their collection. Again, these monthly free games are available to those with PS Plus Essential, Extra, and Premium, so anyone with a PS Plus subscription can claim them starting August 2nd. The headlining free PS Plus game for August 2022 is the popular turn-based RPG Yakuza Like a Dragon. The 7th installment in the acclaimed Yakuza franchise, Yakuza Like a Dragon leans harder into the game's quirky sense of humor and significantly changes the gameplay to be more in line with a traditional turn-based JRPG. Yakuza Like a Dragon earned high marks from critics when it first launched in 2020, and both the PS4 and PS5 versions of the game will be available to PS Plus subscribers. Both the PS4 and PS5 versions of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 will be available on PS Plus come August 2nd as well, with subscribers being treated to the cross-gen deluxe bundle of the game. This is a nice change of pace for the PS Plus program, as there have been many instances where Sony only offers one version of the game to its PS Plus subscribers. And finally, the third game PS Plus subscribers can claim in August 2022 is none other than the original Little Nightmares. Little Nightmares is a side-scrolling horror game that has been praised for its disturbing imagery and creepy atmosphere. It's since been followed up by a sequel, which was similarly well received. In addition to Yakuza Like a Dragon, PlayStation Plus members will get to play the entire Kazuma Kiryu saga in 2022. Sony announces that Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami, and Yakuza Kiwami 2 are coming to PS Plus Extra and Premium next month. It should be noted that Yakuza Kiwami 1 and Yakuza Kiwami 2 are remakes of the first 2 games, with Yakuza 0 being a prequel to the series. While all of them launched with positive reviews, many consider Yakuza 0 to be one of the best games in the franchise. The release dates for the remaining games are not finalized, but they are set to come sometime in 2022. The remasters of Yakuza 3, Yakuza 4, and Yakuza 5 will be added to PS Plus Premium, so PS Plus Extra members will have to upgrade to the Premium tier to play them. Unlike the Kiwami games, these are not remakes and will play similarly to the PS3 originals. As a result, users may get taken aback by the difference in visual quality when they play Yakuza 3 Remastered after Yakuza Kiwami 2. Sony will also add Yakuza 6 The Song of Life to the Extra and Premium tiers later this year. Yakuza 6 is the final game starring Kazuma Kiryu as the series switched to the new protagonist Ichiban Kasuga with the launch of Yakuza Like a Dragon. Yakuza 8 is already confirmed to be in development and continues Ichiban's story. This announcement means that the full mainline Yakuza series will be available to PS Plus members, subject to their membership tier, in 2022. It may also pave the way for Sony to add other Ryuji Gotoku Studio games, such as Judgment and Lost Judgment, to PlayStation Plus sometime in the future. And that's all for the video, guys. Like and share the video for a greater audience. Comment your thoughts on the topics, and donations are always appreciated. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon, and until then from SMPV, it's goodbye.